Welcome back, everyone. I'm the Depressed Eeyore, and this is Dark Souls 2 as Tenshi Hinai. Oh, hello, lag. There we go. Whoa, come on, frame rate. Okay. So we've gotten things started. We fought ourselves a troll. I did some sound checks. I went ahead and upped the volume a little bit. It seems like their voices are not as loud in the recording as they... Well, I guess it's just the old ladies are just very quiet compared to the music, which is a little annoying. But if you turn up the volume as when you play, if you find the voice is too soft, just turn up the volume a little bit for that time. I'll try not to talk during it so I don't blow out eardrums. Alright, so these little things here, these are things you can light with a torch if you want to. I'm probably not going to mess with it, at least not right now. So we got these fog gates. Fog gates can mean two things. One is it's a sort of a... I don't want to call them checkpoints, but it's essentially kind of like a checkpoint. It's not something that you respond back to, but it's sort of like a transition point for a stage. The entire area is still loaded in. It's kind of an area that doesn't get... you don't have to worry about it until you go through it. Fog gates also can mean that you're going to be going to fight a boss, which is usually what it means. In this case, it doesn't. This is the tutorial area, by the way. If you want to skip the tutorial, all you have to do is just follow this path all the way to the end. We're going to go ahead and do it, though. It will get us some souls and some items and stuff like that, so it's always good. Alright, so here's some controls. Attack with weapon. See, these guys are wearing the same outfits that we were wearing originally. Target lock. Yeah, that's what I just did. You can attack without targeting. It's just, you're better off doing it in most cases. Alright. Oh, this is for dashing, like this. Dashing does use up stamina. I forgot to mention, we do have stamina. Stamina is pretty much used for everything. It's used for attacking, it's used for casting magic. If your stamina runs out, you won't be able to do anything, including dodge rolls. So be careful about your stamina, because if your stamina's out and you're about to get hit, you're screwed. You're just gonna get hit. So you can see these guys can be positioned in places that are very, I guess you can say, clever. So it's a good idea to take things slow. The worst thing you can get is complacent. If you get complacent, you're just gonna die. So if you look down there, there's a troll there. We're gonna be fighting that later. It's gonna be a lot harder. And that's a backstab, essentially. Behind the enemy, critical hit. Yeah, if you manage to get a normal strike off while having on someone's back while you have them targeted, you will do a special critical attack, which will generally kill or heavily damage anybody. Each weapon has their own sort of critical attack, or at least each style of weapon has their own sort of critical attack. Some of them are pretty awesome. Well, we're just gonna take things slow a little bit. All right. Okay, that guy's not active. Dagger. Also a good idea to do the tutorial just so you can get yourself a weapon if you happen to be a deprived, which don't start with any weapons at all. Alright. That's the roll I mentioned before. I did tons of it while I was fighting the troll. Now, essentially, the roll gives you... It gives you invulnerability frames. Just not very many. It's based off, I believe, how encumbered you are. And it's also based off, I believe, your agility, if I can pull it up. Don't remember, yeah. Boost ease of evasion and other actions. So as your agility goes up, you will get more leniency with your invulnerability frames, to put simply. Something to note, you got your levels, and then you have your soul memory. This thing keeps track of all the souls you've collected. And that's what's generally decided for balancing or who you will be put with as far as like online stuff is concerned. For the most part, you don't need to worry about this because it's pretty big range, like millions and billions of souls and stuff like that. Well, maybe not billions, but it's big. Switch equip weapons. So yeah, I can switch my weapon. I already shown that off. Same thing for the other slots. I can if I had any other items, I can swap through them, but I don't have any other items I have active right now. Backstep. I've never really used the backstep, ever. Now something to note about ranged attacks. They tend to curve. You might have noticed those arrows are curving. It's applied to your ranged attacks as well if you happen to be targeting somebody. If you have a lock-on, your attacks will tend to curve a little bit. So be aware that just taking a sidestep, it might not be enough to avoid an attack. You'll have to pay attention. We can use an item with the X button. We're not going to do that because we don't need to. Alright, so that's everything here. And that's this just part of the tutorial done. We got 260 souls out of that, which is always good. Move camera, which is what I've been doing for the past several moments. And this is where we go to do the Silky Stone stuff.
You, give it Smooth. Yes, you, give us Silky.
So the way you do this is, if you have any of these petrified somethings or small, smooth, and silky stones, you can, instead of discarding, if you discard it, you lose the item forever. But if you leave it, it gets put on the ground, and then I can.
Yeah, so nice, so smooth. Yeah, silky smooth.
And then we can pick up that.
You, give us
Yeah. Come on, stop talking.
Yes, you, give us silky.
So we can pick this item up, and it's now a magic stone, which is not bad. So now we have a magic stone. Magic stone is a way to imbue your weapon with magic damage. So in other words, your weapon will do, if you have a physical weapon, what it'll do is it will reduce the stats for your physical traits of that weapon, or the quote-unquote other traits of that weapon, and add a magic damage trait to it. So it'll reduce your physical damage a little bit while increasing its magic by a lot. If you use this on an item that already has magic damage, it'll still reduce any other traits that are available and boost that magic damage even further. So it can, depending on how you use these imbuements, can make your weapon better, or in some cases, not so good. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and leave this petrified something next and see what we get.
You, give it Smooth. Yes, you. Yeah, so nice, so smooth. Yeah, silky smooth.
So yeah, these guys have a name. I don't remember what they are though. And we just got the Demon's Great Hammer. So the petrified something is pretty much the highest tier item you can put. The way it works is there's a big giant random table that decides what sort of items you'll get. Essentially, even your lowest stuff, like the small, smooth, and silky stone, will have a chance of getting the higher stuff. But using items like a petrified something or just a higher tier item will have a higher chance of getting the higher tier stuff. So any item can get any leavable item can give you any item from the random table, but some of them have a higher chance of the higher stuff. So what we just got is the Demon's Great Hammer, which is pretty much the best thing you can get from it, but only if you really go for that sort of build. Demon's Great Hammer, a great hammer made unknown materials. Perhaps it is stone or even wood. Its origins of its name are unclear, and its tremendous...
Give it Smooth.
Quiet you. The origins of its name are unclear. Its tremendous weight suggests that it was never intended for humans. Perhaps it was an offering to the demons that appear in legend. So yeah, let's go ahead and just put this in perspective. So for gear, if you look at the bottom there, you'll see some stats. You can see that there's for the dagger, it has a strength requirement of 2 and a dexterity requirement of 6. If you do not meet these stat requirements, or at least the minimums, you'll pretty much not use it. You won't be able to use that weapon very effectively. You'll do a lot less damage and stuff like that. And in some cases, for like weapons that require high amounts of strength, it's possible to get away with a lesser strength requirement if you wield it two-handed. Also, below each of the stat requirements is the stats affinity, I guess you can call it. For this, a dagger, you'll get some. You have a strength of E and a dexterity of B. What that means is your dexterity has a greater influence on the damage than your strength does. So having a very high strength will still give you points, like extra damage with a dagger, but not as much as having a high dex. So yeah, like for the short sword, it's both are C. The scimitar, it's E and B. For the where is it? Is this thing not even listed? Where is it? No, that's the bound hand axe. Where is it? There it is. So for the hammer, it doesn't use any dexterity whatsoever, though it has an 8 strike dexterity requirement. It has a damage of 300, which is pretty impressive, but it has a strength requirement of 50, so I'm never going to be using this anytime soon. Also, the thing's weight is 26, which would put me up to 90% encumbrance. So yeah, this thing's pretty huge. Yeah. So if I look at this thing. Yeah, this thing's a beast. Also, it's yeah, that's my roll when I'm at 90%. Just can't roll at all. So we're gonna go ahead and equip that so we can actually roll again. Okay. Sorry if it's a little slow pace. I'm really trying to explain this for the people that never played these sorts of games. Go ahead and kick this ladder down. So now we don't have to go through that area to get to here anymore. We just have to climb up this ladder. Oop. See that? There's a item there. So what we're gonna do is fall here, pick up the item, Soul of the Nameless Soldier, another item that gives you souls. Light sconces with a torch. So as you can see, we can light these things with this torch. We're not gonna worry about that though. Okay. Making sure I have my weapon equipped. All right. So next tutorial spot. Wields right weapon two-handed. So yeah, I can do this. For I actually, it will in some cases it will change how I swing my weapon. Wielding a weapon two-handed will generally up its damage, though it can sometimes make your weapon swing slower. I've found. At least it feels that way. Also, holding that button while holding two weapons is the way I believe you can get to a two-handed stance, though we can't really do it right now. Oh, if we hold Y, we wield the left weapon two-handed. Okay. Hey, what's up? God, these guys are a lot easier to fight with a weapon that actually has reach. Yeah, I had to do this part with a dagger, which is not fun. Fighting trolls with a dagger, not fun either, I have to say. While dashing, dashing jump. So yeah, I have to click my left stick in order to jump. It's actually kind of awkward, I feel. So if anything that's going to kill me, it's probably going to be the jumping. Well, that and enemies. Amber herbs, those can be used to restore magic uses. So if you run out of magic uses, you can just deal with that. We got a ladder here. Some more info. With the shield equip, the left and right trigger will parry. It's essentially, there's two things you can do with the shield. You can hold it up to block all attacks, which you'll reduce the damage based off the percentages that you have for that shield. But if you do the triggers, you will attempt to parry. And if you succeed with an attack that can be parried, it will knock the opponent off balance, and you can do a critical strike against them. While falling, do a plunging attack. Yeah, I'll be doing that in a second. I generally don't like doing them because if you miss, you pretty much are dead. And the guard break, which I really don't know anything about because some of these prompts I really don't understand. Supposedly, if you press like the left stick in certain directions while attacking, you'll do different things. I have accidentally done guard breaks before, but usually it's never in a situation where I want to do a guard break. So it's usually just something in the way. Alright, so we're just going to drop on you. Problem is, it uses up a lot of stamina. I was out of as you noticed, I wasn't swinging. I didn't do a combo there because I didn't have enough stamina to do a combo. Oh yeah, and then there. Okay, so that's how. Yeah, I don't know how to do. I've never done a jumping attack ever. Anyway, we got a door here, so I'm gonna go ahead and open that. Okay, nothing in here. Cracked red eye orb. This allows you to invade someone else's game as a red phantom, and you can kill them for their souls and other things. We might do some invasions, but it's probably not going to be through red orbs. But more on that later, really. Anything? Oh, we're just going to go across to the spot that has just torches. Okay, so we're done with this area. So to the final tutorial area, it looks like. Sorry if I'm a little slow on dropping down. I'm very hesitant about that. Okay, here's the final area. Now, all those undead I've killed, if I ever go to a campfire, or a bonfire rather, it will cause these guys to respawn. They'll come back. Okay, so never get into a situation where you're hitting each other at the same time. That was a bad thing. I should have backed away. Search your surroundings. So that was just to imply that some things can be used, like this tree that can be kicked over, which is not something you do very often in this game, but there's definitely switches and things in this game, so always be aware of that. So there's a guy down here. You might think you want to try to do a drop attack, but the angle's not right. So you'll more than likely you'll just fall. You'll miss the hit, and then he'll just kill you. So. Ow. Alright, I'm gonna pop this. This thing, Life Gem does heal over time, so be aware of that. When you're climbing, you'll climb at a rate, but you can actually run while climbing to climb faster. It does use up stamina though. Okay, killed him. Alright, so we're here now. Got him to deal with. Alright, before we deal with the trolls. Notice I said trolls, not troll. Get this checkpoint so we don't have to go through that mess again. Now, if anything's going to kill me in this tutorial, it's going to be this part. Because I don't really have a good way of fighting these guys. So there's this guy here. What the issue is, there's this guy here as well. Yeah, big issue here is I gotta be careful not to fall. It's one thing. Alright. One. Did I get the other one? Come on. Come on. Oh, I can almost get you. Gonna get you. So yeah, lure them to this. Just make them fall. That thing that he does there is a grab. If he grabs you, you are dead. He will eat you. Oh, you can't fall that side, can you? Oh, you can. Yeah, so the trick is to try to get one of them to fall, or use ranged attacks if you have those available. Don't fall, don't fall. They do kind of have an aggro range, as you see, they'll back away if you're going too far. Gotcha. There we go. So, we got ourselves 2,000 souls from just killing both of them. And I'm not going to go all the way down here. The only thing that's really of note, I believe, because I don't think there's anything else around here. Pretty sure there isn't. That thing there, you can go inside it and rest in it, and when you wake up, you'll be the opposite gender. So it's a way of changing your gender if you ever want to. I don't know why you would do that, but it's available. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go back over here. Have ourselves a little conversation.
You have proven yourself to the forest. We have little to offer, except perhaps these.
Handmaid's ladle.
May they bring fortune to your journey in some small way.
I don't know why she says they, because there's only one item.
The old wind long, but now.
So, if you kill those 2 trolls that I just killed, and you go back to talk to her, she'll give you the ladle. The ladle is completely and utterly useless. It's essentially a joke item. Handmaid's ladle. Does less damage than a dagger, and it has a durability of 10. It literally will break by the time you kill one monster. But the good news is we're done with the tutorial. We are done. We finished it. You don't have to come back here again, which is good because I don't like fighting trolls. Trolls are by far the worst thing that I've ever fought. Okay, that's a lie. Worst thing I've ever fought is certain armored guys, which we won't fight for a while. Oh! Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Alright, so these are messages. These are messages left by players. If you're online, you can see these messages. The rating is, every time you rate, it'll increase that rating number by 1. Anytime you rate someone's message, it will give that player health back. Like a certain amount of it. It's pretty decent if you ever get it to trigger. Then there's of course the fake messages like this one, where they say, hey, there's an illusion wall here. There isn't. Which is probably the biggest troll ever, is making all these illusions. Because the way illusionary walls are supposed to be open is with the A button. Problem is, reading messages requires the A button as well. So even people that are trying to help and point out illusionary walls will usually put them too close to the wall and make them impossible, very difficult to open. I'm not going to read all of these messages, and I'm not going to leave any messages here. I can actually leave a message if I want to. I just have to go to message, and I can leave a message. You do not type the message. You have to use a given vocabulary for your messages, which can be very, very annoying when you're trying to convey a certain message to a certain area. Praise the sun. That's what most of the messages said. This is Majula. This is going to be our town hub for the majority of the game. Actually, for all of the game. Alright. Now, I will be leaving messages, but it's going to be... I'm going to try to leave, I don't know, useful messages. Like this one here. I'm going to put one here. Message. I'm going to do try... action. I really wish they had like a falling... option, but there isn't. So I'm just going to do try jumping, and I'll put it here. I can also add more to it afterwards. So, write it there. Messages will only appear if you're on, for the other players if you're online. So this message will be here as long as I'm online, and if it gets raided, I get healed. So, drop down here. This is another thing I've missed while I was playing this game for my first time. This thing here is a bloodstain. If you touch it, it'll show the phantom of another player and how they died. In this case, this guy fell to his death. So yeah, if you fall down here, you can fall down here. Then you can go and find this body here. Morning Star and a Cleric's Sacred Chime. This is essentially the starting weapon and chime that a Cleric class starts with. So right off the bat, we already have the stuff we need to do our faith magic. We just need the stats and the spells. Binoculars. This will allow you to zoom in and see things from a distance. I've never used this item before ever because I never knew it existed. The one thing I did see someone use the binoculars for is for like sniping with spells, but I don't think I'll ever really use it that way. I did it. Yes, you did. Try above and then weapon. I see what that advice is, but as a new player, I wouldn't know what that is. We'll go ahead and hit this campfire. I'm gonna go ahead and just go around and get some of the items that are hidden around here, like this item over here. Soul of a Nameless Soldier, life gem. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of go in order from back to front, I guess. There's some NPCs I need to go talk to. I'll deal with that in a second. For right now, get ourselves a life gem. This is a route to a, well, one of the two. Right now, there's essentially 3 routes out of this. Well, correction, there are 4 routes out of this place, which is pretty awesome for a hub. This game is definitely very Metroidvania-esque in its way. Homeward Bones. These things will allow you to return to the last campfire you were at without the cost of souls. This thing here, if you kneel here, you can join this specific covenant, which will make the game a lot harder. Essentially, kind of a new game plus mode right off the bat. And as you kill bosses and stuff, you'll get items, these special items that you can that will allow you to rank up in a covenant. And when you rank up in this covenant, you'll get various items. Well, actually, if you rank up in any covenant, you'll get items. There's essentially 3 ranks to every covenant that you join, and the way you rank up is through various means. In this case, it's purposely going into hard mode and fighting the bosses. There's another covenant somewhere, I think over there, that you might be able to do as well. I've already kind of decided what covenant I'll be doing, but essentially it's just kind of another way of getting items, and they kind of have some of them have some interesting lore behind them as well. It's really like the only way I can explain it. Let's go ahead and go over here real quick. Try attacking. I'll rate that. So if you attack it, you can get yourself an Estus Flask shard, but the Estus Flask we haven't gotten yet. I'm gonna go ahead. This is a message I usually leave as well, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that as well. So try action attacking. It's usually one that gets rated pretty often as far as useful messages go, which is not very often. This door is locked. We're not going to be able to do anything with it. Also, around this corner are pigs. They're very small, very hard to hit, and they hit you pretty hard. They're not worth fighting, so don't do it. Alright, so let's go ahead and start going through some of the NPCs. We'll listen to what they have to say.
Hello there. Welcome to my shop. I'm Morlin, and I sell armor. Oh, sorry, Please do have a look at my wares. I could really use the business, if you'd be so kind.
So the NPCs in this game are pretty interesting. Like I said, practically all of them are undead, which means they're all trying to get souls and, you know, trying to survive. And each of them are pretty, I guess you can say selfish, but they're really just trying to survive, which is not something I can really knock them for. Moglin starts out very, very shy, from what I've heard, and he gets more and more arrogant the more souls you give him through, you know, buying items. He does sell armor, and if you give him once you pay a certain amount of souls, he will start having access to boss gear. Like certain bosses will have certain armors equipped, and you can get their armor, well, purchase their armor rather. Right now, there's nothing worth anything I want, so I very rarely ever get anything from this guy. So he's usually just going to remain shy for the rest of his life.
I came from the west, from Volgan. Have you been there? It's a lively place, vibrant with trade. Very competitive, of course. And you have to grease the wheels to get anywhere. But I didn't have the funding for that, so I left home in hopes of striking gold. It's been years since then, and I've made very little headway. I don't even know why I'm still here. Everything's all run down and dying. It's terrible for business, really. A group calling themselves the Blue Sentinels have gained much power in Volgan. You can't even run a shop without their blessing. They claim to be working for the greater good, but it's absolute hogwash. By the gods, why the hell am I here?
What's funny about some of these NPCs is they came here, and some of them will forget why they even came here. Because the way hollowing happens is their memories will start to fade. They won't recall why they even do anything, and then eventually they just forget themselves and become, you know, nuts. Okay,
Well,
that's all the talk.
I do hope I see you again.
I guess the goodbye message you get from NPCs, especially shops, will be different but depending on whether or not you bought something from them. So usually he's going to be sound depressed because I never buy anything from him. Titanite shard. This is used for upgrading gear, which we can't do yet because we don't have access to a blacksmith. All right. Let's go over here. So this hole here is one of the ways to get one of the 4 ways to get to another area from this hub. Right now, that fall is too far. You will die from the fall damage. There's a way to survive the fall. There's also a way to get a ladder to go down it. Personally, I'll just fall once I get enough the necessary means to do so. And a kitty cat, which makes this game 17 bazillion times better because it has a cat.
Oh, undead are we? And one without much time remaining. Just about ready to fall apart, I'd say. Not exactly the time to be chatting with a cat.
It's always time to chat with cat.
Well, suit yourself. Oh yes, you may call me Shalqua. Enchanté. So, what did you want anyway? Ooh, you smell wonderful.
Not sure if she's mocking me. So, you can go to her to abandon any covenant you join. Speaking of covenants, that blue sentinel that the armorsmith was talking about, that is a covenant you can join. I've never joined it before, but I probably will attempt to in the future. Right now we're not in any covenant. If we were in a covenant, we can go here to see what rank we are. For the most part, it's kind of useless. It's not worth keeping track of. We can also talk to her. She sells various rings, and she sells various usable items, such as the Homeward Bones, Prism Stones, which can be used to light and mark paths, which I've never used before. A Luring Skull, which can be used for luring enemies, which I've never used either. And the Lloyd's Talisman, which is a purely PvP item. It's used to stop someone from using their Estus Flask, which is an Estus Flask is essentially your primary healing item. So, blocking that can be very detrimental for some players. So, the rings we have access to is we can get the Ring of Evil Eye, which will give us, I think, like 28 HP every time we kill an enemy. The Silver Cat Ring, which reduces fall damage by quite a bit. This is something we'll definitely need if we're going to drop down that hole. The Red Eye Ring, which can make it easier to be detected by enemies. This is essentially the one and only aggro item in the game. Aggro in this game is kind of weird, especially when dealing with multiple, characters and stuff. But essentially, the Red Eye Ring makes it so you can attract attention easier, which can be useful for someone that wants to be very, very tanky for a party. Name Engraved Ring is a ring. When you equip it, you will decide a god. Anytime you equip this ring, you can decide any god, so you can swap the god anytime you wish. And anyone that is the same god as you will have an easier time to connect with you, either by joining you or you joining them. Ring of Whispers can hear the voices of foes. This thing will make very, very weird sounds when there's monsters nearby. I think this could be a good way of finding out if there's mimics nearby, though there's generally other ways to figure out about mimics. The other thing this ring could be useful for is talking to a specific NPC, so we'll definitely be getting this eventually. For right now, we're not going to worry about rings for a while, because they're expensive, and we need every soul we can get. So let's go ahead and talk to her. I know I'm going overtime. I'm going to go ahead and deal with all the conversations here, and then for the next video, we'll go ahead and get some action in.
This place is already dead. Everything will crumble and waste away so that something new may be born. Isn't it wonderful? This place is fascinating. We receive only the most peculiar visitors. Folk like yourself.
It's enough to keep even a cat amused.
So adorable.
Are you going to see the old ones? Those four who have grown so incredibly ancient. They must have sprouted quite a thick coat of moss by now. For heaven's sake, no one even knows their names anymore. Imagine that. Yes, nothing like yourself. For you have a most pleasant scent that grows nicer with each passing day.
Essentially, the pleasant scent is the amount of souls we collect and stuff like that. So yeah, there's the old ones. We're going to be going after them because they generally have strong souls that we kind of want to get. And I just made the quote symbol, even though you guys can't see it.
Have you made friends with the man by the sea? He's lost everything. Absolutely everything. The only thing he's good for now is a few tidbits on covenants. Covenants are a type of, well, contract, you might say. You give something to gain something. That's the way humans like it, right? It might be just the thing you need. But what does a cat know? Did you see that oddly formed rock behind here? Long ago they called it Victor Stone, as I recall. If you wish to face greater challenges, speak to the rock. Although, you'd just as well not.
So yeah, she was talking about that covenant where you join and makes the game harder. That's the Victor Stone. She did a very good explanation for covenants, I believe, as well, so.
This place is already dead. Everything will crumble and waste away so that something new may be born. Isn't it wonderful?
Alright, I believe she's repeating now.
This place is fascinating. We receive only the most peculiar of it. It's enough to keep...
Yep, okay.
Nothing suited you, I presume? Well, that's dismaying.
So yeah, she's not going to be a very happy cat for a while because I'm not going to be buying anything from her. But she did have some pretty good advice about the covenants. So let's go ahead and go talk to the blacksmith.
Who are you? Oh, it doesn't matter. Just help me open this door. I packed my tools in here, seeing it was vacant. But now somebody's gone and locked the door.
So despite the fact there's plenty of holes to climb through, you can't get through this door until we get the key.
I'm a blacksmith. I'm nothing without my tools. Bring me that key. Chop chop.
He's also a dick.
I'm a black...
Alright.
Bring...
He's not going to say anything much more until we get access to that shop. Alright, so... as we get through the game and meet more NPCs, a lot of them will actually come to this village and hang out here. You'll see them as we go along. A lot of deaths worldwide, and there's something in the back here. Yeah, I don't know what that is.
You're undead, aren't you? You have that distinct scent, the smell of irreversible fate. This is Majula. It is a kind of settlement. A place where life is almost normal. And in Drang Lake these days, there are very few places like that. I am Solden. And like you, I lost everything. And now I'm here. You probably heard that it was possible to break the curse here. Well, that's not true at all. There's nothing here for you, me, or anybody. Do you know much about souls? Even I'm not certain, but I'm told that the soul is the essence of life itself. Anything living, sentient or no, supposedly has one. What we call the curse is traceable to the soul. Do you see what that means? To be alive, to walk this earth. That's the real curse, right there. We undead will never die. And that's quite a predicament, really. There are 4 beings in this land with giant souls. And wherever you go from here, you'll sooner or later come up against them. Each has a powerful soul and a terrible curse. If that frightens you, then you ought to just give up right now. Like I have. Do you ever cry out for help? The journey of an undead is long and treacherous. You'll face invaders from other worlds at every turn. If you need help, why not proclaim faith in the Blue Sentinels? When you face danger, the Blue Sentinels will come to your aid. Protection is yours, if you wish. You need only accept their kind embrace.
So, what he's offering is not joining the Blue Sentinels, but rather the Way of the Blue. The Way of the Blue, what it does, if you have the ring equipped that you'll get for joining them, anytime you're invaded by a Red Phantom, if there's a player that's a member of the Blue Sentinels equipped with his ring, he will be ported to you to help fight off that Red Phantom. For the most part, I don't know how useful this is because, quite frankly, I've only been invaded by a player once. Like, an actual Red Phantom player, I've only been invaded by them once. All the other Red Phantoms I've been invaded by are NPCs. So I don't know how useful this really is. So I'm not going to join it because I have no interest in the Way of the Blue.
I see. Then you'll have to brave this treacherous journey on your own. If you ever require help, come back anytime.
Radio.
I will stay here and pray for your safety.
How kind of you.
Do you feel it suits me just fine? As I've nothing left anyway. It will grow on you, this place. Give it some time.
So we can talk to him some more. We can go ahead and learn a gesture, which is the welcome gesture.
Do you see the way beyond the bonfire? That will take you to the forest of the giants. There was once a great fort, but little of it remains. You may just find something there that will be of use on your journey. But don't venture too far inside, or you might not come back.
So that's a hint. Generally, the order, if you want to go by progression of difficulty, you generally want to go towards the Forest of Giants first. We're not going to do that.
Hade's Tower of Flame lies beyond the far gate. In the cathedral, the Apostles of Blue gather. But the road leading there is perilous. The gate is rigged with some contraption. But how it works, I just don't know.
So that's the other route we can take. We can go towards the Tower of Flame, which is where we're going to be going.
Have you seen that pit, that gaping hole in the earth? I don't know what it's like down below, but I wouldn't suggest trying to find out. Besides, you'll never make it down there. Not without a ladder of some sort.
You can get down there.
The flame you see there is a bonfire. They exist all across the land, beacons to we undead. If you are tired, try resting beside the flame. The flame heals us.
Wow, he's really quite the tutorial. I never really talked to this guy before.
Long ago, a woman called a firekeeper watched over each bonfire. She kept the flame lit and guarded it from those who would extinguish it. I wonder where the firekeepers went. Did you notice any letters on the ground on the way here? These are messages that have jumped the fissures between worlds. In Drang Lake, the flow of time is convoluted. Things shift and waver, twist and turn. Poignant wishes, dashed dreams, the messages convey our very inner thoughts. If your will to soldier on falters, try leaving a message. Somebody out there is sure to listen. You may notice symbols that appear upon the ground. These are summon signatures. They call upon spirits from other worlds through the schisms in time. If you fear hollows, find summon signatures to call upon spirits to help you. Do you see the way beyond the bond? There was once a you may...
Okay, now he's repeating. Wow, he had a lot of advice.
Peace on your journey.
Okay. Didn't expect him to talk so much, but he did pretty much explain everything I've already explained before, which I'm pretty glad about. So that was one of the issues I had with Dark Souls 1, was the hub area. You really didn't have any information, and it was really frustrating as a caster because I didn't know where to go to get any new spells. So it really was kind of an annoyance. Here, I mean, granted, there's no place to get spells right now, but there's definitely a lot more things to this place than what you started with in Dark Souls 1, I feel. That's just me.
Are you the next monarch? Or merely a pawn of fate? Bearer of the curse, I will remain by your side till this frail hope shatters. Take this with you. May it ease your journey.
Estus Flask. We finally got it.
Go on and see the king. He who made Drang Lake what it once was. He who peered at the essence of the soul. King Vendrick.
Yeah, this is the Emerald Herald. She is the most important person. For one, she gives you your Estus Flask. The second thing is she levels you up. You have to talk to her to spend your souls to level up. Anyway, let's go ahead and equip our Estus Flask. Drink to restore HP, replenishes at bonfires. So this is a self-restoring item, unlike the other healing items, which makes it very, very useful. Right now, it only has one charge, and it only heals a certain amount, but you can upgrade this flask to heal more and have more charges.
Bearer of the curse, seek misery. For misery will lead you to greater, stronger souls. You will never meet the king with a soul so frail and pallid. Seek those whose names are unutterable. The four endowed with immense souls. Their souls will serve as beacons. Once you have found them, return here to me, so that hope will not fade away.
So the old ones that were mentioned a few times, those are our targets. We need to kill them, get their souls, and then go talk to her again. That's our goal, is to get those souls.
Is that a shard you found? Here, let me see it, so that I may help you. To see light, to see hope, however faint it might be.
Okay, so that flask we got, we can use to upgrade our Estus Flask. So what that did is now we have 2 charges instead of 1. We can also level up here, so let's go ahead and take care of that. Take care of all the loose ends before we call this a video. So like I mentioned before, I'm going to go ahead and get my strength to 11. And then I'm going to start working on faith. There we go. We need a faith of 12 to cast the lowest level faith-based spell. Also, I forgot to mention that since we're Tenchi, I think since Tenchi's a what was she called, a celestial or a divine or something like that. I think faith would fit. Faith magic will fit with her quite nicely. So what we need to get is our. I don't even remember what the stat's called. Attunement. We need to get our attunement to 10 so we can get 1 slot, and we need to get our faith to 12, which will get us access to the lowest level spell. So let's go ahead and confirm this level up. Level ups cannot be altered after you use them, so but you can respec, so that's still an option. Alright, let's go ahead and talk to her. We'll get these conversations taken care of, rest of the bonfire, and call this a video. I apologize for the long video, but I figured I'd take care of all the loose ends here. Actually, this doesn't take care of all the loose ends, but whatever.
Over the hill and past the forest is the king's castle, where a man peered straight into the essence of the soul. But whatever came of it? Those who come to Drangleic seeking salvation soon lose hope and turn hollow. It happens to them all, sooner or later. That blue knight at the base of the tower, his spirit is already broken. Although he does offer sound advice.
He did.
Perhaps he is a foreshadowing of your own future. That tiny thing inside the ruins. An ancient being that will mock your very existence.
I apologize,
She
Skype
imparts
is going.
sound wisdom. Provided you find her on a good day. The sign you bear will drain your very souls. And without souls, you will turn hollow. Stay strong. Do not lose hope. Even when you have precious little time. For when the undead dies, it is never truly dead, but only one step closer to hollowing. Not all undead are hollows, but all hollows were once undead. If you find an Estus shard, bring it to me, so that I may ease your burden. Over the hill and past the forest is the king's castle.
I think she's repeating.
Where a man peered straight.
Yep. Okay, so we're done here. Alright. I know, like I said, this video is going long, but there is one more thing we need to do. There's a path over here we haven't taken. This is the 4th thing we can go to. Though we can't really go to it because we actually require an item to do so. Divine Blessing. Divine Blessing will restore you to full health and remove all status effects. Hello. Let's go talk to you.
Have you business with me? The way yonder is all blocked up, you see, by this god-awful statue. Heavens above. Who thought it a good idea to put it there? Oof, I'm in quite the pickle now.
This guy has a pretty cool sword, and if you kill him, you can get that sword.
See that statue? Gives me the willies. You stare at it for long enough, it starts to look alive. It just doesn't seem quite right. There are no craftsmen round these parts. Hey, you don't think a real-life person was turned to stone, do you? See that statue? Gives me the willies. Hey,
Okay, so Heath, that's a little hint about the statue that's going to be blocking our way up there. There's also another way. There's essentially a lot of the NPCs have their own like little story plot thing that if you do things with it, you can get their gear. So I believe there's a way to get that sword without killing him. But it's not a big deal because it's a heavy weapon that we're probably not going to ever use. So this door can only be opened with that switch, but we can't get access to that switch because there's a statue that blocks our way. And we have to do something about that statue. We can't break it. It won't break from our weapons. And these rooms are these guys. Oh, lame. So yeah, that staff he's equipped with actually can cause poison. As you can see, there's that bar there. If that bar ever fills up with red, I become poisoned, and then for that duration of that bar, I will start taking life damage, which will generally, at my current state, kill me pretty quickly. Void's Talisman. Alright. That's that item that you can use in PvP to prevent people from using their Estus Flask. Speaking of Estus Flask. Gulp. Good for healing, but if you get attacked while drinking an Estus Flask, you're going to be screwed. Alright. I think that's about it. That's everything around this area. And that's all the conversation's going to be doing for a little while, at least. Depending on how quickly I get through the tower. I will be heading for the tower first instead of the Forest of Giants. Mainly because I like a challenge, and two, it gets you pretty good stuff right off the bat, including a person that has access to miracles, which we need. So I want to go ahead and rest here. And we're going to call it a video. I am The Depressed Eeyore, and this was Dark Souls 2. Sorry for the long video. See you guys next time.